Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to our live session today. Today, as promised, we are going to begin our course on English that is targeted for the advanced learners, right? Over the course of the last 1 month, we've covered the basics of English, to be more specific, the parts of speech, right? But in this course, we are going to look into the advanced intricacies of English and what lies beyond the very basic foundation of parts of speech. So, we can compare parts of speech with the alphabets of English, the basic 26 alphabets of English, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So we've learned what the alphabets are, right? Now it's time to learn to spell or make words with those alphabets. Like we know that, A, P, P, L, E stand for apple, right? So similarly, we've learned the parts of speech. We know what nouns are. We know what verbs are. Now it's time to bring those parts of speech together to make full sense of what English is. All right? Okay, so we will not waste any more time, and we'll straight and we will go and see what we have. All right, so Advanced English by Augmatics Bangladesh. Who are Augmatics Bangladesh, right? It's important to know who we are. Many of you, I assume, are joining us for the first time today. So for those of you who are here for the very first time doing this live session, participating in this live session for the very first time, it's important for them to know who we are and what is our ulterior motive behind this, right? So who are Augmatics Bangladesh? We are one of the fastest growing technology-enabled healthcare support organizations on earth. Currently, we are operating in 5 countries: the United States, Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, and the Dominican Republic. Our goal is to rehumanize and revolutionize the global healthcare process. Okay, so if I'm going to say very briefly, this is very much it, right? So yes, we are one of the leading multinational healthcare organizations in the world right now, and we are expanding as we speak of it. And we're making expansions progressively and aggressively, right? We're already operating in 5 countries: in the United States, in India, in Sri Lanka, in the Dominican Republic, and also here in Bangladesh. And what is our ultimate goal? Our ultimate goal is to rehumanize. It is to rehumanize and revolutionize the global healthcare process by making the entire healthcare system, by making the entire healthcare fraternity more available to the patients and to everyone that really needs the help, right? Because healthcare is something that is just unavoidable. You can avoid going to a lot of specialists, you can avoid going to a lawyer in your entire life. You can avoid going to an accountant in your entire life. You just can't, right? You just may, but you have to go to a doctor at least once in a life, right? And when you do so, and when you go so, we want to make sure that your experience remains smooth, firm, and happy. And that is exactly where Augmatics comes in. And we help our partner doctors and specialists in the United States, and we help them in a lot of ways, right? Okay, moving on to what we have next is English and Augmatics. Why do you think that we focus so much on English? Why is English language so important to us? So let's see what we have in this particular slide. We support and work with doctors and healthcare groups in the United States of America. Primarily, we support and work with doctors and healthcare groups in the United States of America. We help our doctors to perform and serve their patients better. We do so remotely. From our specialized production suites in our facilities in Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, the Dominican Republic, and the United States as well. To maintain the utmost standard of communication, we must make sure that our allied healthcare professionals or medical documentation specialists do so in flawless English, as we all know that English is the most popular and widely known global language for commercial and non-commercial communications. All right. So yes, the bottom line reason is we work with the United States doctors. And of course, most doctors in the United States speak in English because we assume that most of them are Americans by in the sense that their native language is English. So besides that, of course, besides that, what is the global language? Which is the global language? Which is the international language? The language that everyone knows? That, of course, has to be English, right? So English is the language for business. English is the language for all sorts of commercial activities. And this is the language that can take you to places, right? So therefore, English is very important, and we focus so much on English, and it is really important that our professionals, our allied healthcare professionals who support our doctors, right, that they know flawless English, that they can speak, write, and understand flawless English, right? So yes, which is why we are so enthusiastic about the proper usage of English, and that's why we focus so much on it. All right. Okay. Now, as you know, I'm going to be facilitating this entire course for you, right? So you should know who I am and what my credentials are. So I've shared here briefly about myself. I am Mohammed Farhan Bashir, and currently I am an English language trainer for pre-augmatic scribe training under Bangladesh Scribe Operations. I have been in teaching and training for the past 11 years. That's right. I started young, and ever since I did, I've been in teaching and training. So it has been almost 11 years that I've been in this particular profession. And as far as my education goes, I've completed a professional certificate in business communication from the Rochester Institute of Technology, the United States of America. I have a certificate of achievement teachers training program from the Services for Professional Education and Enterprise Development, SPEED, Bangladesh. I have a Bachelor of Laws from the University of London, the UK, and a certificate of higher education in law, also from the University of London, UK, right? Okay. Now, the English language is a work in progress. And how so? Why exactly so? Why do you think English language is a work in progress? You see, this is one language that is evolving and that is changing consistently and constantly, right? So the dictionaries, they bring out new editions every year. New vocabulary, new words are being added to English vocabulary every single day, every single week, right? Words that you have never known before, however, now exist. Therefore, it is important to stay updated on all the latest updates of English. Therefore, that is exactly why we say that the English language is a work in progress. The language is never complete. You can never say, this is it. I mean, like you cannot, there is no one single book that can teach you the entire language at one go, all right? Because there is nothing as such. So what you have to do is you have to keep learning the language every single day. The more exposure you can get yourself to the language, the better you become at it, all right? So what we should do is we should, of course, speak in English as much as we can. We should think in English and, of course, write in English as well. Speak. Your English doesn't have to be grammatically flawless while you speak, because that is not absolutely necessary at all times. Yes, it may be at times under very formal contexts, but when you're speaking informally or unofficially with a friend, with a colleague, with a family member, right? That's fine. Just speak. Speak in English and try practicing as much as you can, right? Think in English. How do we think in English? You see, when we were in school, many of us used to do translations, right? From English to Bangla, from Bangla to English. So what happens to us is often when we see something in English, maybe a sentence, what we try to do is we try to translate the entire sentence in English to Bangla in our mind, and then we want to say it out loud. Well, that's not bad. That is a good practice. That is a good practice. I wouldn't say that's a bad practice. But, however, that is not very advantageous, right? So always try to think even in English. Anything, just think out loud. For example, you may be thinking to do something after Ramadan. You may be thinking to go somewhere on Eid. So think about the entire plan, and instead of thinking about it in Bangla, think about it in English, as in like construct your ideas. Transform your ideas to sentences and make sure those sentences in your mind are in English, right? The more you can do that, I can promise you the better you will get at constructing English sentences. All right? Then we have, of course, write in English. We have to write in English. So, in one of my previous sessions, I discussed how we can write in English. Of course, aside from all business purposes or commercial purposes or school purposes, we can write in English anytime we want. I suggested once that you could, write a diary. You could maintain a diary, and it doesn't have to be. It could be a personal diary. It could be a work diary. Whatever. Just make sure that your entries are written in English. The more you can indulge yourself into that, of course, your understanding of English vocabulary, your understanding of English sentences, or how to better construct your sentences and your ideas will eventually get better, right? Okay. Then I would like to discuss what we are going to cover in this course. So we know that we've covered all the parts of speech to the exception of interjections. Of course, I will incorporate interjections in this course, but before interjections or before going to the discussion of interjections, I would like you to know what are the course contents, what are the contents that we're going to cover in this very course, right? All right, let's read out. Verbs. We will begin with verbs. I know we did cover verbs in our previous course, yes, but this verbs is going to be a little more advanced, all right? So we're going to begin with verbs and subject and verb agreement, and then we will cover tenses, active and passive voice, direct, indirect speech, modals, prepositions, subject and predicate, relative clauses, adverbial clauses, reportive clauses, adjectival phrases, noun phrases, sentence structure, changing word order, and finally, redundancy. All right. So these topics may look a little fancy. To you, may not, but these topics do look a little scary and fancy to me as well. Although I have been learning them and teaching them for some time, but yet these topics, they do look a little scary to me. I mean, like adverbial clauses, adverbial phrases, reported clauses, redundancy. Those are mouthful. Anyway, these are not rocket science. People have learned these. People do know these, and there is no reason why we cannot conquer these, right? And we will. We will definitely learn them and eventually use them in our writings, in our speech, and every single way that we use English. All right. Okay, so you may ask that is it really necessary to learn all these topics? Do they really come handy? Do Americans, right, or do people who speak in English, do they necessarily know all these grammar aspects? Well, the answer to that question is no, of course not. I mean, like if you ask yourself that, do I know all the chapters of Bangla grammar? Of course not. Do we know? No, we don't. Many of us don't. Many of us do, many of us don't. But why should we then, in that case, why should we then learn all these advanced intricacies of English grammar? Well, that is because we're in this course, we're not only going to learn how to speak in English or how to just make sense of English, but to dive deeper and understand English as a language, understand English wholly as a language, not just for speaking purposes, not just for communicating purposes, but as a subject in its own right? As a subject in its own right. Now, if we can cover all these chapters, what should be our ultimate outcome? What will be our ultimate outcome? Our ultimate outcome will be, or should be, I hope at least to be, that we will all gain some expertise in English, right? We will come to know what adverbial clauses are and how adverbial clauses are used in our day-to-day speeches, right? We will come to know what reported clauses are. We will come to know what noun phrases are. And all these chapters and the understanding of these chapters will definitely help us to construct our sentences better while we write them, even when we speak them, right? The main purpose, of course, the bigger picture, not the main purpose, the bigger picture is to use these topics or these aspects for business or commercial purposes, for employment purposes, right? The better you get at English, the better your chances to land a good job, right? Now, you see, I've spoken about this previously many times, but then again, I'm going to do it again, that soft skills, right? Soft skills are what make the world go round these days, right? You may have a very fancy degree, but that will really not help you much if you cannot really portray yourself as an expert, right? So in order to do so, there are some soft skills that you have to know, that you have to be an expert at, and you have to apply your skills to your everyday work, right? And English is one of those very important soft skills, especially communication skills. Now, communication doesn't necessarily mean only speaking, right? It involves writing, it involves listening, it involves understanding, it involves reading, it involves observing, right? So communication skills are very important, and to have a flawless communication skill, you have to know English. You have to understand English. You have to appreciate it, internalize it, and apply it to your everyday work. All right? So yes, these are the topics that we intend to cover, inshallah: verbs, subject-verb agreement, tenses, active passive voice, direct indirect speech, modals, prepositions, subject and predicate, relative clauses, adverbial clauses, reported clauses, adjectival phrases, noun phrases, sentence structure, changing word order, and finally redundancy. All right? Once we're done with these chapters, by the end of the course, as you already know, we will avail you a course and assessment, and that course and assessment is going to be difficult. Of course, I'll make sure it is difficult, so so we can actually, so you can judge your understanding of all these topics completely, right? So yes, this is pretty much it. Tomorrow again, I'll come and inshallah we'll join you, and we'll start with verbs and subject-verb agreement. Each day we'll cover 2 topics. Tomorrow, inshallah, we intend to cover verbs and subject-verb agreement. The day after tomorrow, we will try to cover tenses and active passive voice. All right? So yes, each day we will cover 2 topics, and I hope by 8 days, inshallah, within 8 days, we will be able to cover all these topics, and we'll try to make as much sense as possible of these topics, right? If you have questions, please feel free to ask me your questions in the comment section, and I will answer your questions. And also, you can reach out to me. You can email me your queries if you have queries. Well, it's not really possible for me to answer all, to reply to all of your emails, but I try. Some do get my responses, some do not, and I would like to apologize for not being able to respond to all of you. But then again, I am really not able to reach out to all of you given the time frames that I availed. All right. Anyway, but please do reach out to me if you really think you have an important query that needs to be answered. Okay. So yes, this is pretty much it for today. I'll see you again tomorrow, inshallah. And please do not be late. We'll start our session at 4 p.m. sharp. All right. So yes, until then, stay well, take care, and thank you for joining us.